What if I told you that Van Gogh's Starry Night was painted while he was having a psychotic episode? That the poet Sylvia Plath wrote her most famous works while clinically depressed? That Beethoven composed his Ninth Symphony while going deaf? Hi, this is Suggestions, and this is our channel. And today we're answering the extraordinary question: why does sadness make us creative? Van Gogh's Starry Night, painted in 1889. A young man named Vincent van Gogh is swirling paint onto a canvas in southern France. He's fixated on the night sky above his window. In his mind, he sees a whirl of colors and movement. So he grabs a brush, dips it into some blue paint, and begins to swirl across the canvas. Within minutes, the painting is finished. It's called the Starry Night. Today, it's one of the most famous paintings in the world. It hangs in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. People from all over the world come to see it. They stand in front of the canvas, mesmerized by the energy of the artist's brushstrokes, and they don't realize that the artist is dead. That Vincent van Gogh cut off his own ear before he died. That he spent most of his life believing that he was mentally ill, and that he only sold one painting in his entire lifetime. Now let's zoom in on a detail from the painting. There's a small village below the night sky. Some of the houses have their windows open. We can see inside. Each room is empty. No one is home. This is what Vincent van Gogh saw when he looked outside his window. One day, but there's something strange about the scene. Vincent didn't just paint what he saw. He added something to it. The sky isn't blue. It's a whirlwind of yellows, blues, and greens. The trees aren't green, or a mass of white and yellow strokes. Even the village isn't gray and brown. It's filled with streaks of red and purple. In other words, Vincent didn't paint reality. He painted how he felt about reality. In doing so, he created a masterpiece. So here's a question for you. Why did sadness make him creative? Let's answer this question by looking at another piece of art. A dark and stormy night. Rain lashes against the window. Thunder booms in the distance. Inside, a young woman sits down at her desk and pulls out a pen and some paper. She writes quickly, almost frantically. Her pen bleeds ink onto the page. She doesn't care. She keeps writing until dawn. Then she gets up and looks at what she has written. She reads it again and again. She realizes that she may have created something special. This is what happened to Sylvia Plath on February 1963. The poem that she wrote that night is called Daddy. It's one of her most famous poems. It begins, "Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time, marble heavy, a bag full of God, a black shoe in which I have lived like a foot. Since you went there, there has been no peace." It's not a very nice poem, but it is great literature. And here's the thing. Sylvia Plath didn't write this poem when she was happy. She wrote it when she was spiraling deeper into depression. Here's why. When Sylvia Plath was 20 years old, she attempted suicide. She survived, but she would never be the same ever again. She struggled with depression and feelings of worthlessness for the rest of her life. Eventually, her depression got so bad that she took her own life at the age of 30. Sylvia Plath was a genius. She wrote some of the best poetry in the English language, and all of it was written while she was mentally unwell. We've seen that great art can be created by sad people. Now let's look at another example. Ludwig van Beethoven. In 1801, Beethoven began to notice that he couldn't hear as well. At first, it wasn't a big deal. He could still play the piano and conduct the orchestra. Soon he couldn't hear anything at all. He became completely deaf. His hearing loss made him depressed. He considered ending his own life. But then something amazing happened. He started composing some of his greatest symphonies. Here's what's interesting. All three of these artists produced their best work when they were struggling with mental health issues. But here's the question. Do we really need sadness to make great art? Here's what we mean. If Vincent van Gogh hadn't cut off his ear, would he have painted the Starry Night? If Sylvia Plath hadn't attempted suicide, would she have written Daddy? If Beethoven hadn't gone deaf, would he have composed his Ninth Symphony? Here's the crazy thing. Maybe yes. Studies show that people who are more observant and introspective are more likely to be creative. When you're sad, you're more likely to be observant and introspective. So being sad can help you make great art. But here's the question. Can you make great art without being sad? Well, here's the interesting thing. Maybe you can. Maybe you just have to fake being sad. Let's take a look at some modern artists and see if they can help us answer this question. Billie Eilish. When Billie Eilish was 13 years old, she and her brother started making music together. Their song, City Girls, became an instant hit. Suddenly, everyone wanted to listen to their music. They had millions of fans around the world. Overnight, Billie Eilish became famous. It seemed like a dream come true. But behind the scenes, things were very different. The fame was eating away at her. She felt isolated and lonely. She was constantly judged by the media and her fans. It was too much pressure, so she did something crazy. She pretended that she was depressed. She wore baggy clothes and wrote sad songs. The irony is that she wasn't really depressed. She was pretending to be. And guess what happened? People loved it. Lana Del Rey. In 2011, Lana Del Rey released her first album, Born to Die. It was filled with songs about doomed romance and old Hollywood glamour. Critics panned the album. They said it was overproduced and dated. But then something amazing happened. The public fell in love with it. Lana Del Rey became famous around the world. But here's the thing. Lana Del Rey has always been interested in sad girls. She made Ultraviolence, a concept album about domestic abuse. She even wrote a novel about a serial killer. And all the while, she was living a charmed life. She had money, fame, and a loving family. So here's the question. Why does she keep coming back to sad girls? Well, here's what she said in an interview. For me, the sadness is like a muscle. You flex it. You have to almost play the part, and that's how you get into character. Here's what we're thinking. Maybe you don't need to be sad to create sad art. Maybe you just need to know what sadness feels like. Think about it. If you want to play the part of a sad person, you don't need to be depressed. You just need to remember what it felt like the last time you were sad. Maybe all you need is a little bit of sadness, just enough to get you started. Think about your favorite works of art. Are they happy or sad? Why do you think the artist made them? Do you think they needed to be sad to make them? Let us know in the comments. As we wrap up this video, we want to ask you for your support. We're trying to reach more people with our videos, because there are lots of people out there who need to hear these messages. If you believe in our mission, would you consider supporting us? It really helps us grow. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you're sad, you're not alone. The world needs your sadness. It's the raw material from which beauty is made.